Solarwinds 123. Seriously, that's your plan. I'm Woody Huffines on the Nerds to Go in McKinney, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. In the last couple of weeks, the thing that's been filling up my news feed is the Solarwinds attack. Solarwinds is a managed service provider down in Austin, Texas, and they got hacked, and through them, a whole bunch of government agencies, Fortune 500 companies. I saw one estimate that said it's probably going to take years to figure out how bad the penetration was. So let's quickly review what happened. As a managed service provider, if someone's remotely managing your network or your computers, they put some code or an executable on your machine that allows them to communicate securely over the network. And it's a practice that's been out there for a long time, where if we come to your office or your home and we're going to do some remote management, we have to have an executable or a program on your machine that allows us to do that. And for an MSP, they update that executable or that program consistently. They push out a new version so that they're more secure, or they're better, or they're faster, or they just make revisions to the code that they're pushing out to your machine. And at Solarwinds, one of their development servers, which is where they develop that code, got hacked. So the bad guys were able to, in this case it was probably a Russian APT organization, was able to hack into the server, get into the program that they were going to push out to people, and put a bunch of different malware in that executable that went out. So now Solarwinds is in the position of having had the program that they pushed out to all of the computers that they manage, or some substantial portion of the computers they manage, that had a whole bunch of malware in it. So then that malware leaves their little executable and starts crawling through the network and crawling through the computers. So to go out, and we continue to find, oh yeah, then they put this in, and oh yeah, they put that, and all these little Easter eggs that are just showing up in people's computers and their servers and their networks that SolarWinds pushed out because they had a password problem. And that's what I'm going to talk about, is the password problem. And I've talked a lot about passwords here. Here's a list of a few things you can go over here. Anyway, here's a list of password problems that people are having and the things you need to pay attention to. But in this case, at SolarWinds in 2017, an intern, somebody was working part-time for them, that was working on the development server. Think about the development server. That's the place that you're going to design and build the software that you're going to put out on a bunch of machines. Set his password to Solarwinds 123. Really? Solarwinds 123. Now here's the problem. Solarwinds should have had a password checking algorithm so that you couldn't put a password that's simple out there. It ought to be a little bit more complex and require upper and lower case, require special characters, require numbers, require a whole bunch of stuff that obviously they didn't require if someone was able to set that password, number one. Number two, they didn't manage their passwords. When that intern was gone, all of his passwords should have been zeroed out so nobody could get to them. And so here you go, number two, make sure that you're looking at the passwords for your organization, whether it's your family or your personal passwords. If you haven't used a resource in a long time, get rid of it. Change the password. Do something. Don't leave a password out there for somebody to hack for 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years. Yeah, I had that problem. Anyway, I had a password that was 9 years old. Oops. Anyway. So this SolarWinds attack goes out, and because an intern put a simple password on a server, it made that server vulnerable to hack, but it gets even worse. There's a place that's called GitHub where programmers and people who write code exchange information and exchange code. Like if I'm writing a program and I've got a problem with the way it's running, I can stick it out on GitHub and say, hey guys, does anybody understand what I'm doing wrong? And other programmers can go look at it and say, yeah, I do this, you need a colon here and a comma and fix my code. Well, this intern posted his code that he was working on the SolarWinds server out on GitHub, which is available publicly all over the world, and part of what he posted had his SolarWinds 123 password out there in 2017. Not a good look for SolarWinds, not a good look for password management, not a good look for all of us. So it's about time. It's the beginning of the year. This is the time to start looking at the things that you need to do to make sure that your passwords are secure. I'll talk about how to do that. Get a password manager, and I'll talk about those. It is one of the biggest problems that we have in computer security in the world, or certainly in the nation today. All came about because somebody didn't take care to make a strong, complex password, and the organization wasn't paying attention to their passwords. And the reason that I mention this is Solarwinds is one of the premier managed service provider companies in the world. Solarwinds is excellent at what they do. They've always been excellent at what they do. And the reason that they were in the Department of Treasury and the Department of Defense and Fortune 500 companies is they do their job very well. They made one little mistake, and that one little mistake has caused a problem that it may take years for us to discover the extent of the damage and to fix the damage that was done. Manage your passwords. If you have a question about how to do this, give us a call, Nerds to Go and McKinney, and we'll walk you through a best way to do it and best way to manage your passwords. I'm Woody Huffines. I own the Nerds to Go and McKinney in Frisco, Texas. This is Tech for the Untechnical. Hit the subscribe button, mash the notification bell, and we'll see you again soon.